today something was shared with me that kind of made me think. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I really am not. And I don't believe in conspiracies, but it seems that sometimes some awkward things happen and we have to actually, we got to take note. We have to take note to when these things happen. And I started doing some research. Now, due to contrary to belief, I'm a pretty intelligent guy. A lot of people don't think so, but that's where I fool you. That's where I trick you. You realize that, dang, maybe he is pretty smart. But I digress. So, this is how we're going to start off. People, the country is in a state of emergency. You just don't realize it. Now, I'm going to quote this. It's kind of an off quote from Ice Cube's death certificate. The death side, a mirror image of where we are today. The life side, a vision of where we want to be. But if you don't know your 14th Amendment rights, go ahead and sign your death certificate. Let's get it started. So last week I did, and which is kind of crazy, I did a podcast or a post or YouTube, whatever you want to call it. And it was called America, the Violent. You know how to throw that triple K in there. And that's not nothing new. A lot of people know that. They probably don't realize that, hey, I know that. But the truth of the matter is, America is how a lot of people look at it. Not saying that the United States is racist, but there are some tendencies that tend to show us up in the face every so often. So this is like part two. And here's the crazy thing about it. Because this is somewhat, well, this is not somewhat, this is pretty much full-fledged political. The last one was potentially partially political, simply of what I was talking about. And so YouTube said, you know what? You can't boost this one because it has to do with political. Kind of feel a little, some kind of way with that, but 3 out of 4 platforms rocked it. So you missed out, YouTube. You can't stop it. Not YouTube, but Facebook, you can't stop it. You can't stop the words from getting out. So I know Facebook is trying to cover their tracks with a lot of things that has happened, and they're trying to keep themselves out of trouble, but I got it. So we're going to call this America Part 2, okay? Now, I'm no conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I really am not. I'm a historian, and I believe history often repeats itself. People don't pay attention to it because they're too busy with the now and not what happened then. And there's a lot of things going on now that kind of happened back then. And the thing about it is, when you are in a particular position to control the media, you can control the thought process, you control what people hear and see, and you control a lot of outcomes. So I'm not saying, once again, I am not anti-Trump. I don't care for him, but I'm not anti-Trump. I just don't generally care for him. That's just me. I didn't vote for him, a couple years ago. I'm not going to vote for him in 2020. But I got a feeling a lot of you Democrats are going to talk yourselves out of the election. But I digress. We're going to get to the point. I'm not going to drag this thing out. So I'm going to do a lot of reading. For the simple fact of the matter is, this is actual, these are quotes. These are things that are actually historically in our Constitution or bylaws from the Constitution. And there'll be some quotes, of course, from Trump himself and a few other things I'll throw in there just to make everything make sense. So you know me, I got those numbers. So let's go ahead and start off with bottom line. Everybody walking around here, Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter, LGBT. I told y'all before, I don't know all those. I don't know the acronyms, all the letters, okay? It's an alternate lifestyle. So, therefore, I'm just going to say alternate lifestyle. So, how you going to look at it? So, you people are walking around here like you're woke. And you talk that you're woke, but you're not. You're actually asleep. Me, I'm not woke. I'm aware. You want to say, well, Brian, you're old. That's why you're not woke. Woke's a young person's term. No, it's terminology regardless of however you want to look at it. I'm aware. And the reason why I'm aware is because I'm a combat vet. And the one thing they tell you when you're a combat vet is to be situationally aware. And I am that. I look around and I pay attention. And I was kind of like, this week's podcast was actually going to be about, Zeke Elliott and, Zach or Dak Prescott, I'm a Cowboys fan and whatnot. And I was going to talk about, you know, football and Colin Kaepernick. But, when Bill Dre hit me up with this video, I was kind of like, okay, I would never just talk about anything without doing some research. And I'm not going to lie to you. What the video showed me was a little bit skewed. It was off original context of the Constitution, what was originally written. Now, they had two amendments after that that wasn't stated. So that's how people get up in arms because they're not educated or they just want to gravitate to a cause. And that's the problem. People want to gravitate to a cause without being fully educated. So I'm not trying to educate you here. I'm just trying to get y'all people to be aware. So back in 2018, there was a strong push by Trump to, pass legislation granting that grants, legal born citizenship, and they call it birthright citizenship. And he's trying to get rid of that. And he's like, no, if your parents were illegal, you're born to the United States. No, you're still illegal. You need to go back to where you came from. Now, let me put it to you this way. This right here is like, it's in your face of what's actually coming, what he's trying to do. It's in your face, but everybody is so worried about the wall and they're worried about a lot of things going on. People shooting up Walmarts and, attacking different, Jewish synagogues and mosque, for the Muslim. But that is not what's going on. That right there is only a byproduct or basically a symptom of everything that's being put into play. Smoke and mirrors, my man. Smoke and mirrors. So, in an interview with Axios, President Trump claimed that he was working on to end the birthright citizenship. Now, this is a 150-year-old principle, and the birthright citizenship actually came around with the 14th Amendment. That's why I said you better know your 14th Amendment rights. And I can almost guarantee you, everybody knows I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment. Okay, well, be silent, be quiet. You about to be gone. So a lot of people, I'm not going to get into the whole get aware thing, but a lot of people don't understand how important the 14th Amendment is. So not long after the president tweeted this out, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, he tweeted, I plan to introduce legislation on the same lines. Okay? South Carolina. I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm not saying anything, but I don't know. I don't know. Before the Civil War ended, Congress passed and sent down to the states ratification the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, and authorized Congress to enact appropriate legislation implementing the abolishment. Now, the amendment was understood to also make black citizens of the United States. Now, like I said, this is the 13th Amendment. So this is what they were saying because, everybody says, oh, the Civil War was about slavery and this, that, and the other. No, it wasn't. Everybody knows it was about economics. If you don't know about economics, go to your closet or your shelf or your wall, pull off your diploma, break the glass, and give it back to the high school you got it from, because that's not what the Civil War is about. It was about economics. And I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of people up north didn't want blacks to be here. They could go right back to Africa and they would have been just as happy. Now, mind you, the colony or the colonist or colonizers came to this country, broke away from their quote unquote hierarchy or monarchy, however you want to look at it, to start anew. So they went from England to the States, and I'm pretty sure slavery had been around to a degree, and they brought that here, that injustice, that type of temperament, that type of process. and that's what they started. That's their tradition. Okay, so it is what it is. Can't change the history, but I can always prepare for the future. So we'll get into it. However, the 14th Amendment was passed to guarantee citizenship to blacks who were freed from slavery after the Civil War. Now, this was, the 13th Amendment was 1865. Now, I'm going to give you word for word what it says in the Constitution or in the amendment, the 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized, keyword is naturalized, in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction, therefore, are citizens of the United States and of the states where they reside. Meaning, when you're born into the United States, when you're born into this country, okay, you're a United States citizen first, then you become a citizen of whatever state you're in. Okay, the country has precedence. So that's basically what that means. Just bring the context down for you. So, with that being said, more rhetorics come out with immigration hardliners argue that policy is a great magnet for illegal immigration, encourages undocumented pregnant women to cross the border and give birth. You're not going to separate no kid who's born in the United States. Now they're born in the United States and considered naturalized citizens and kick them out because both their parents are undocumented. I don't want to use the word illegal, but we'll say undocumented. See, that is how they're saying, okay, this is how we're going to get this because we don't want to continue on with this process. We don't want the illegals coming through. Mind you, this is only slated towards the Hispanics. I can guarantee you right now that other people come to this country, other nationalities that are not documented. I'm sure of it. And they're probably all in New York. Just kidding. But that is where a lot of people come into. And it's easy to blend into New York because of so many cultures. That's why I use that. I mean, it's a bad joke, but truthfully, there's so many cultures in New York on the East Coast. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of undocumented people that are there, but they're not focusing on that. They're focusing on the people coming from South America, Mexico, things of that nature, which is, I don't know. Did Trump get a bad, enchilada or something like that, give him heartburn, or did some Latina girl shut him down? I think his wife's kind of like she's something. She's not American, so she might need to go too. But anyway, I don't know what is his biggest gripe, calling these people rapists and murderers and things of that nature. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a white guy just went into Walmart and just started smoking people. No part of Hispanic in him. None whatsoever. Not Latin at all. Go figure. Guy in California, same thing. Don't think he was Hispanic, black, or other. And I want to say the guy in Ohio might have been the same. I'm not saying that is a justification at this point, but speculation says you're reaching, brah. You're reaching. Now, the laws were used for black folks into, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So basically, when they put these laws in place, blacks were free. Okay. Now here's the thing about it. The blacks were free, but they were in the same position. They didn't have anything. They needed a place to live. They needed a place to work. So what the South did, they came up with what's called the Black Code. Okay, the Black Code are basically laws that force blacks into signing yearly contracts to work for extremely low wages. If they didn't sign, they risked being arrested because there was a vagrancy law. If you were black and you were a vagrant and you didn't have a job, so to speak, you were arrested. And guess what? You're back on the plantation. That's just cut and dry. You're back on the plantation. So it's kind of like how the American prison system came because they still needed to get that production of all that whatever the South was producing, and they didn't want to work and what have you. So they got the free labor. And basically that's how the prison system kind of came to be, because if you look at the prison system now, you're working for a change. I've never been to prison. Don't ever plan on going to prison. I like keeping my life like it is. Now, check this out. Americans, and I'm talking about black Americans, Hispanics, approximately 32% of the United States population comprise 56% of incarcerated people. This is as of 2015. So here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I kind of said it jokingly. How do you eliminate a people by extinguishing their ability to reproduce. And that's why there's always like a lot of trumped up charges for blacks and Hispanics. Because if you look at it, technically, we're not the minority, we're the majority. So I like to look at it this way. You got a horse. Horses are really strong. But you get this piece of leather that's tied to a bit around their head. You wrap it around a pole. Horse doesn't go anywhere because the horse is conditioned to know that if I try to go, not going anywhere, I'm going to cause myself some damage. They're conditioned that way. But truth of the matter is, they probably can't snap that leather because horses are strong. They're very strong, but they're conditioned. And that's the way we are as Americans. We're conditioned. We're conditioned to believe that we're the minority. We're conditioned to believe that we're not worthy to be in the majority. We're conditioned to believe these things. And that's why when they say, oh, we're the majority, you know, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not going to say it's a fact because I really don't know. This is one I really couldn't find any information on when you talk about the Electoral College, you know, as a deferment of just in case the quote unquote person they want to be in office doesn't make it, we go to the Electoral College. Now, like I said, I didn't get a chance to research all that, you know, that right there is a big stretch per se. Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just pointing out some facts. I'm just pointing out some things to help you, just to help you see and be aware. Now, the reason why I say you have to be smart about this, so we have these camps. I don't want to call them camps. We'll call them detainment centers. Centers always sounds nice. So we have these detainment centers down south that are housing all these undocumented people. Now, here's the thing. I've tried to talk to certain people, and people have looked at me maybe as if I was ICE or some type of government official, and they avoid me because I got that military look sometimes. Even with the beard, I still got a military look, and they avoid me. And I had a conversation with a gentleman. He's like, kind of had some bad experiences with people getting snatched up, and then in the news, the best way to scare somebody is to broadcast it on TV. When they went, I think once it was either Mississippi, South Carolina, Atlanta, somewhere where they went in that company and they got like 500 undocumented people. I mean, that's a lot. And they broadcast it on TV. It's a fear tactic. That's all it is. It's a scare tactic. And I'm pretty sure it worked. So they take all these people, they move them into these detention centers. And I'll be honest with you, the issue we had was what? Separating kids from their parents. Now, I could actually go into this a little bit further about how the Indians were separated or the kids were separated to move them from their culture, but I'm not going to go into that because that's not what this is about. But it could be for in the future. You never know. Now, in Germany, when we were talking about the genocide, which a lot of people say didn't happen, okay, believe what you want, the administration set up concentration camp. Dachau like being one of the worst. Check this out. This administration has established concentration camps on the southern border of the United States for immigrants where they are being brutalized and dehumanized in inhuman conditions. And you have heard about it. And I've seen, I'm not going to lie. I get cold with a little blanket. You give me something like the little heat shield deal. No, that ain't going to fly. And I'm pretty sure they're not eating it really good. They're not. Because that's a huge expense anyway. So they're still finding ways to detain these people in mass quantities and ship them back. And there is a provision within the Constitution that if people are trying to flee from persecution, that we take them in. Not this case because we're sitting on them back. And what's happening? Yeah. So Democrats are the problem, Donald Trump tweeted. They don't care about crime and want illegal immigrants, no matter how bad they may be, to pour into and infest our country. An infestation. I don't care what you say. An infestation is bad. Very bad. What do we do with the infestation? We destroy the infestation. We kill the infestation because infestation is bad. Well, I believe the Native Americans actually believe that their country got infested by what they call who? Pilgrims. And they kept bringing them people over. They kept bringing them over, and then they kept bringing more people. That's an infestation. But guess what? Right is relative to who's in charge. Whoever's in charge has the power. And at that time, our technology was a little bit more advanced. But the thing about it is, even though we had a systematic form of warfare, the Native Americans had a better form of warfare, which our military had learned from, which is called guerrilla warfare. And they talk about Custer's last stand. So when you talk about Custer, and I'm kind of getting off top a little bit, but I'll get back to it. When you talk about Custer, whenever Custer was going on his killing spree of Indians, Native Americans, however you want to refer to it, they were always called decisive victories. He won decisive. But when he had his last stands, what do they call it? They call it a slaughter. Once again, that's taken away from the human aspect of what happened. So the way you control a certain portion of the population is to polarize a certain situation. Dehumanizing someone or something makes it easier for you to not care. So if we dehumanize all the immigrants or the undocumented immigrants, why should we care if they're suffering? You understand what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Dehumanization. And this is also a tactic that a lot of dictators use in the very beginning before they start taking over progressively. Now, I strongly doubt that will ever happen in the United States. I really do. Because, there's too many people with common sense. And the reason why I say that as well, you have to look at where the way America is actually built. Okay, we as a people, meaning white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, Native American, you name it, okay? We have become what they call the melting pot. But then you have to go ahead and look at the demographic of the military. The military, I'm not going to lie to you, kind of colorful. I should know. I was in the military when it wasn't this colorful in certain jobs. But in every aspect, the military changed. So I would think what happened, communism type situations or, when Hitler came into power and the genocide, I doubt that'll ever happen. I know that would never happen because bottom line is this. Even though as soldiers, airmen, sailors were sworn to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, but were also sworn to not obey any illegal order. So something that is deemed illegal or unconstitutional, we don't follow. There are situations where people don't follow or tend not to follow and end up getting hung or shot, but I think that's because of a insurrection and they had their own agenda. But the point I'm getting at, and what I'm saying is, you can go ahead and worry about your big booty videos, and you can worry about your crazy rock videos, and whatever. Okay, you can go ahead and delude your mind. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how much money you have, because truthfully, I have nothing against Dak Prescott, and I have nothing against Zeke Elliott trying to get as much money. But bottom line, you need to go ahead and look at it. Kirk Cousins, not that great of a quarterback. Big deal. I still can't remember the name of that guy that went from the Broncos to the Texans and they sent him right back to Denver, who gave him his marching papers because he wasn't all that great. But the dude got paid majorly. Now, is it because of his position being a quarterback? Possibly. But the fact of the matter is, you still have the same type of people who were and are in power. 70, 80-year-old white guys, oil, land, that type of infrastructure. As we move forward and progress in different forms of wealth are acquired, then we're going to have a different thought process, but we got to get there first. So the only thing I'm getting at is, I know you probably say, Brian, you went up. No, I went on a tangent. What I'm saying is, know your 14th Amendment rights, because you, as a black person, as a Hispanic person, you're naturalized. Regardless if you were born here in this country or not, you're naturalized. And if they do away with the birthright, who said that you can't go? Who says I ain't never been to Africa? What, you gonna send me to Africa? Nah, I can't even go on naked and afraid Because mosquitoes, I don't like mosquitoes. I was in the Army for 24 years and I hated mosquitoes. Almost suffocated one time because I was in my track vehicle. I closed it up. Mosquitoes, because I had this phobia of getting bit in the face. And I seen somebody get bit in the face and it did not look good. So no, I don't do the naked afraid. You're not sending me to Africa, Haiti. You send me to Puerto Rico though, or the Bahamas. I'll go there. But I'm an American. I don't care how nice the beaches are. I'm an American. But nonetheless, don't just be awoke, be aware. And with that being said, I promise you to continue to bring good content. I can almost guarantee you right now, depending on how I name this, Facebook will say, nah, brah, we're not going to promote it. But YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes will. So if you have not subscribed or follow me on those three venues, please do. On YouTube, according to B. Matthews, Spotify, same thing. And then when you go to iTunes, is Psychologics. Sykalogic's. And with that being said, nope, not today.